Okay, we'll start the meeting. Welcome to the Monday, February 25th Selectmen's meeting. We'll start off with the pledge. Okay, approval agenda. I'd like to move the signing of the municipal quitclaim deed. I guess we can do that right off the bat. I'd like to move that first thing.
So moved.
Okay. Second. Any other adjustments to the agenda? All those in favor? So, let's get right into it.
I make a motion to sign the municipal quitclaim deed to map 2402.
Second. A motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Yep, that's it. Time's you close and stuff.
Second. We all signed our own pre-action deed, David. Is your date already on there?
Nope.
All set.
Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, next on the agenda is a public forum where we invite the public to comment on any non-agenda items. Anybody from the public that would like to make a comment tonight? Please state your name and have at it.
Sure. Hi, my name's Tim Ford. I'm the owner of Motorland Classic Cars at 2564 Portland Road here in Arundel, and am asking for some consideration for a special town meeting. I'll explain a little bit briefly. We are in the process of looking to open up a museum at our current facility, where we look forward to welcoming visitors from all over the world to Arundel to see our collection. There's a two-step process with the town. First, we needed to get a land use ordinance change, which will require the special town meeting. The planning board approved that language last October 25th. We're just concerned that we're running out of time in order to hit the season, because we have to wait until the, that town meeting to vote on the new language. We were the only land use district that did not have a museum as a permitted or a conditional use. All other 9 already did. We were the 10th, so we're looking to change that. We have the planning board's support, but it needs that. Once we have the vote on the land use ordinance change, as I understand, then and only then can we submit another application to the planning board for a change of use for our building to be able to accommodate a museum. So it's that two-step process as we're looking forward or ahead to the April opening of the tourist season. That my understanding was there may be looking at an April 8th meeting for the special town meeting, and I'm just afraid we're running out of time. So I understand there may be some additional advertising costs. We'd be happy to bear those costs if you would consider having a special town meeting to allow this to go forward. Thank you.
Tom shared some information with me which I did not know. And my apologies to Sandy and you, Tim, because I wasn't aware of it, but he's indicated to me that the public hearing on this museum change has already been held. And if that is the case, then it would be my view to move a special town meeting to address not only the museum piece, but I think also the changes in the food truck licensing to that, to a special town meeting. Now, all we need, if that public hearing's been held on the museum change in the ordinance, all we need is a 1 week's notice. So it would be my view, if everything's all set, that we would hold one at our next regular meeting, which would be, I believe, April 11th. No, March 11th, I'm sorry. Yeah, it would be March 11th. So that would be my proposal to you.
The proposal would be to have so we still have to have the public hearing
No.
for the other one, right?
No?
Did we do the, street?
We don't
We
need it,
won't do
no.
the street yet.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
We'll do
just
the street.
this ordinance and perhaps the food truck.
Yeah, so the food truck, we need to do a public hearing on that, right? We haven't already done that one.
Well, I don't believe we're required to have a
We don't-
public
we don't
hearing,
need
it's a
one.
special town meeting, it'll be open to the public,
Oh,
public
yeah,
can
yeah.
discuss it.
Yeah.
The only reason the ordinance, because they have to go to the planning board for viewing and for a public hearing.
Yeah, and seeing it as they've already had it pretty much already covered, right?
Right, I wasn't I wasn't the understanding the museum piece had already had a public hearing, so
Yeah.
I'll just reconfirm that if that's the case, then I'm all in favor of going to the 11th of March and having a special town meeting.
So, I was hoping that we could use that date also for our information for the municipal building.
I don't think there's any reason why we can't.
Right. I was gonna ask to try to keep the everything real light so that we could do that at the same time. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, but
Okay.
it would be a good time to have that at the same time also and get that off and rolling.
Sure.
You want a motion to do that, to do the museum and the food truck piece at our March 11th meeting, and make that a special town meeting?
1 minute. Roger, do you know whether the ordinance change relative to the street setbacks has been before the planning board yet? No?
Yeah, so we'll have to have another special for the street setbacks, the street designs and construction piece. There was one other, something else there too, I can't remember.
So, did you need a motion for that?
Yeah, I think we
I
need
did.
a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Donald, second by Jason. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
I need to abstain.
One abstention, Tom?
That would be March 11th,
Yes,
7 o'clock here.
It may be in the gym,
Yeah.
we'll have to, but
Give or
it'll
take.
be here.
Good.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much for your time, folks,
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Does anybody else from the public have something they wanna bring up? Okay,
Thank you, guys.
Take care of two birds with one stone there, don't get it under old.
we haven't even got there yet.
You don't even have to do it, yeah.
Approval minutes of February 11th, 2019.
Move approval as submitted.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Tom, a second by Velma. Any other discussion? All those in favor? One abstention, myself, I wasn't here. Okay, committee and board reports. I have none, I had a school board for the last one, but I'm gonna bring that one back up. They're having a meeting tonight, so I'll try to go online, get some of that information and report at the next meeting. Anybody else got anything else? Okay. Managers report.
Yes, I think we've touched a little bit, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the schedule for upcoming meetings. Obviously, we've got it seems like on Mondays and Tuesdays, for the rest of the duration here until probably the annual town meeting, we'll have some meetings going on. This Tuesday, obviously, we have the building committee, and then the following Tuesday, we will have a budget committee meeting. So it looks like we're gonna be flip-flopping those, one or the other, until we wrap both of those process up. I was gonna talk a little bit about the,
That's the fifth then. The first Tuesday of March
Right.
will be budget.
right, the budget will be on the fifth, and then the following week would be building, and then, cause I scheduled both the Mondays and Tuesdays for any events that we needed. Just wanted to make that reminder. The other, the next thing that I had here is I just wanted to let you folks know that I did send, and I gave a copy of the letter that I sent to Joseph and Christine Labrador about the petition process and what they could or could not do, how many signatures needed. We provided a couple options for them to consider. And at the end of the day, I was looking at the land use ordinance, and I still think there may have been some challenges to their lot, and I just provided them a reminder that they may wanna contact a land use attorney to review that ordinance, to ensure that even with a change in the ordinance, that they could do what they wanted on their properties. And I left it at that. I haven't heard anything back from them, so my assumption is that they have the information and they'll make their decisions accordingly. Just to let you know that I got notice from the clerk that the election positions that are set to expire, both for RSU board member, budget board member, and then 2 selectmen, both Velma and Jason. So I believe the papers would be available on March 4th, and the papers need to be back to the clerk on the 12th of April. So I haven't heard from Ira. I'll talk with Jack about whether or not he wishes to adjourn. I think Velma is showing interest, and I'm sure, I don't know what Jason's gonna do.
It's a secret.
Okay,
He's gonna do
so, anyway.
it.
And finally, for me, just to give you an update, we do have the compactor. The new compactor is on site. Fabrication of the chute has been a challenge. I think we're getting to the point now, I haven't looked at it today. Roger and I have spoken about it. We've spoken to the gentleman whose company who was fabricating the chute. Initially, we weren't really happy with the quality of workmanship that was being completed on the chute system prior to installation. He assured us that it would be done properly, so we're keeping an eye on that. Once the chute's done, the unit will be placed in its proper place and bolted to the wall. And at that point, Roger's made communications with the electrician to come in, and once the inverter's there, he'll do the inverter conversion and then service to the panel, and we'll be ready to go. So, it's been a challenge.
What's been the issue with the chute?
It was being fabricated on site, the welding, the overlaps, the painting, or lack thereof, the squareness of it were all subject to
Discussion.
poor quality, in my view. And we sort of expressed that to the.
Shut the camera off, we can tell you the truth.
So who was doing that? Was the guy from-
Recycling, mechanical recycling out of, are they out of Concord, New Hampshire? Somewhere in New Hampshire. They're the ones that are the Philadelphia tram rail folks, and they're the dealer for that company, and that's they seem to be the largest market, Philadelphia tram rail for these
So
compactors.
that's the one for the company for the compactor, right?
Correct.
They farmed this guy out to do that, or?
Right, Casella contracts with them to purchase the unit and fabricate the chute, along with installation of the unit on site, so. Been a challenge, but we'll get it right.
I did get hit last week on a couple of folks that hadn't been there for a while, and I got an earful about paying for recycles.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
hey, listen, that's the nature of the business today, right? It's not like we're making money, and they were losing all kinds of money with that stuff, so, but, yeah, they weren't happy, so, okay. Okay? That's it?
That's all I have there.
Okay. Old business, anything you wanna add on the food truck, or?
No, I didn't, the only thing I was going to do was that, initially I was under the impression that it had to be in front of the public hearing through the planning board, and it does not. It's a licensing requirement more than anything else, so even though it says around the food truck ordinance, I think we've taken care of that issue tonight, and we can have our special town meeting and gather approval for it.
Perfect. Now, we already took care of the claim deed. Okay, let's move on to a new business, 2019 road postings.
Yeah, I provided in your packet a copy. Roger's here to review it. I think he has some comments and suggestions on the new construction of the Limerick Road and his opinion of that, so I'll let Roger talk.
Basically, it's the same list as last year, exactly the same. The question was the upper end of Limerick Road, after spending that kind of money on it, we wanted to look at it for at least one more year as a posted road, rather than just leave it wide open. I know it's one of the better things we've done. If you drove a truck and had to deal with a new road, this road is a lot easier. It's a lot better to get some of that traffic out of the new road area. But I'd like to look at it for the money we spend on it, $340,000, I'd like to look at it for one more year before we just open it up and let it go. So that's why the list is the same. Eventually, I think you'll be able to remove the postings on that section. There's a few bills in front of the legislature right now to do away with the road postings altogether. Who knows where that's gonna go? And there's a proposed bill to change that, right now, the way it states, it's gotta be 32 degrees or colder, no water showing, both conditions gotta be met to be legal. And there's a proposed bill to remove the water part of it, so that if it's just colder than 32 degrees, you would be legal. Again, these things aren't the end of the world, nobody ever bothers to read them, is the problem. It's 32 degrees or colder and there's no water showing, you're legal, folks, have at it. So, other than that, it's basically the same as last year. Proposing to post them March 1st, which is Friday. Kennebunk, Florida, do the same thing. They're shooting for the 1st as well.
Okay.
They've gotta go to do a meeting, Kennebunk, I believe, is tomorrow night. Kennebunk posts Thursday night.
I've already seen that Wells has already posted their roads.
Wells has put theirs up on.
Yeah, they were saying tonight that after the next 2 to maybe 3 weeks after that, they're expecting spring to hit hard.
Okay.
Who said that, the groundhog?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Weather.
That's wishful thinking. Winter's here for another month.
Long as it's sometime in April, it'll be fine. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to, allow Roger to, post the road for 2019 per the list that was submitted.
Move to let Roger post the roads as listed.
Motion by Phil, seconded by Jason, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Hey, while I have Roger here, I know it's not on the agenda, but just quickly, we've been notified in DOT that Shaw Brothers will be starting the intersection of New Road,
I was gonna ask that.
and, they're gonna be starting, soon, they're gonna be laying out their,
He said the 11th, but he wants to have a pre-construction meeting first, but I was picking his brain a little bit. And guess what, folks, there's no mention or no sign of a traffic signal in that plan.
Yeah.
None. I thought we had made that extremely clear to the DOT that was
We
gonna happen.
definitely gone back to them and said we wanted, and actually, we were gonna ask, at the time, Wayne
we did,
to follow up with that.
I did, I asked Wayne asked us to send a letter to the legislature, to the NDOT, which I did. I think we'll just make one more last ditch effort to, find out what the status of that is in the future. If they're not gonna put it in, as Roger and I talked about today, even if they put the infrastructure in, didn't place the roads, at least the infrastructure would be there in the event that they discover, like all of us know now, that it's a challenge to get out of that road if it's not signalized.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the least we can do at this point, but seeing he was here, I just wanted to make sure that we, let you folks know that they're in the process of getting ready to start that project.
If we send that letter, do we send copies to, Susan DeChambeau and?
I think I'm gonna directly talk to Susan this time,
Yeah.
because she's the longest, tenured, legislator that we have in the area, so I'll reach out to Susan in her office and see what we can do to sort of push that on a little bit more.
You don't know who's on the transportation committee now?
I don't, I can look it
was.
up online, find out who's on there. I don't think we have any representation.
Anybody from the area, maybe?
Maybe, I'll have to look.
I met with a gentleman, in town here, I can't remember his name now, but I can get you that information. Just met with him last week in regards to putting preemption on the lights. Because DOT is doing a survey of the area of the lights where we need the preemption.
Oh, okay.
So with the local fire chiefs, I met with Chief Hooper from Goodens Mills in regards to Jackson's Corner, and we talked about Limerick Road at the end of Route 1 area and Campground Road. And Ingerson, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Representative Ingerson, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
And
yeah, I
he-
can reach out to him too.
He met with us, and he's the contact person in regards to that. He also led me to a Stephen Landry. He's at the State House in Augusta, working for DOT also.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had, I'm sorry about
Nope.
taking it out of order.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that, when Roger started talking about the new road, I was gonna ask about it anyway. Okay, so street design, construction ordinance,
Yeah, let me give you a little bit, I spoke to Tad today, from what I gather, anything that's remaining that has to go in front of the, planning board for ordinance revisions or ordinance discussion will happen on March 28th. So after that date, we can schedule a, special town meeting. The street design and construction standard ordinance will be one of those things that will be on that special town meeting, along with the other things we spoke about, tonight. And from what I understand, the planning board have other things that will be on there as well, so, I would like to try to push that, meeting as quickly as possible into April. Once I have firmed up that they're actually gonna hold that meeting on the 28th, I may try to reach out to you folks about having a quick meeting to establish a special town meeting to go ahead and have that. All I need is 7-day notice and we can have that meeting, so.
if we start getting into May, I mean, at that point, you might as well wait till the town meeting.
I agree,
So,
I agree, and these are things that we've been working on, and I think they just need to be wrapped up.
Okay.
I think we put them on the special town meeting, we're gonna get bogged down on these ordinance provisions that really may not necessarily need to be there. So I just give you a warning that I may ask you for a quick meeting to establish a special town meeting.
Was that for that public hearing? to that meeting?
Yes,
We gotta make sure that that other thing that Tom was talking about is
Yes.
on there as far as the public hearing too.
Right, I
'cause
have it on my
that's been in
list.
front of the planning board, and I guess they've agreed in the change,
Okay.
but it hasn't been the public hearing.
okay. So it needs to go to public hearing too, along with the street design. Okay. I'll follow up with Tad tomorrow on that.
Okay. So, let's see, ambulance billing rates, we're gonna change these.
Yes,
Did
you can
did
see
you
it.
want us to sign anything, send this to the planning board first? Procedure for amendments here, you on the other side?
Oh, yes.
No.
Jeez, I forgot all about
Yeah.
that. I'm
I
sorry.
think the ordinance requires that, but,
Yes.
You need a motion for us to
Yeah.
sign that?
Yes, I was informed that, that they had to have an official letter from the selectmen to work on the ordinance for the street design and construction standard. So I put together a letter, if I can get a vote to sign it, I'll have you guys sign it and we'll send it on to the planning board for their action. Thanks, Tom, for the catch.
Why are we doing a letter?
We're required by the ordinance, the land use ordinance, if we formally request a change in the ordinance, then we have to formally send them a letter asking for the change.
this wasn't initiated by the planning board, we had the separate committee
Right.
doing this,
Oh,
okay?
yeah,
From us to them.
right. Okay, got you. All right, so I'm looking for a motion for that.
I did.
Second.
Motion by Velma, seconded by Jason. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion
Thanks.
carries. Banker's hours, Rod?
Usually they have one for snowplow.
Today started a little early, about 12:30.
Thank you.
Good night, Roger.
Night, folks.
Thank you.
Okay, ambulance rates.
Chief's here this evening to discuss them. You may not recall, but, we've made, the start of this month coming up, we're changing to medical reimbursement services out of Wyndham. We'll be providing our, medical, billing. We're gonna be sunsetting our agreement with, Comstar at that time. Medical reimbursement does a bunch of the municipalities around us. As you can tell, they do Kennebunk, Wells, York, and Algonquin, so it gives us a pretty good benchmark as to the services they provide. In addition to that, they have provided us a recommendation on what our rates should be, based on, their observations. So there is a recommendation here from them, which is endorsed by the chief at this point. He can elaborate a little bit more, but we believe that with these changes, along with the intercepts, and he can get into more elaboration about the intercepts and what happens there, that we're gonna significantly, make a difference in our, ambulance billing collection. This year, I think we had put in $125,000, $124,000. The last audit we had, we collected almost 150, so, we're seeing an increase in that, which I think is a good thing, seeing that we're having, a challenge in our hourly rates to sort of balance out to make sure that we have the proper people here, but Chief's here, he worked very hard with his group to get this done, and, he can fill in the details.
Do we know what we have outstanding?
Yeah, we have over $200,000 in outstanding debt right now, right?
Well, Ag collections, check today was at, with 157.
157?
And the problem with Comstar that we've been having is, they get paid regardless if they follow through or not with the collections. They charge us 8% per transport, and it's based on what the rate is. So let's say the rate, we charge transporters $1,000, they charge 8% on that $1,000, they might collect 500. But they don't collect off the 500, they collect off the 1,000.
Off the bill.
So with medical reimbursements, they charge a lower percentage, they charge 6, and they charge based on what they collect. So if he collects 500, he charges 6% on the 500. It just gives him more of a initiative to go get the money. So if he's got money in collections, he's gonna go get the money, because he's not getting paid unless he's getting it.
Yeah, the other one, they get paid no matter what. but-
Right. So that 157, they're not fighting to get that money.
Okay.
With that said, the surrounding communities like Woodlands Mills, Alfred, Waterboro, Kennebunk, everyone surrounding us except for Biddeford, because they use Freeport for billing, use medical reimbursements. One big thing that we haven't done in the past is our paramedic intercepts. Rundle is very fortunate with our staffing. We usually have a paramedic on every day for 24-hour basis. Once an occasion, one calls out sick or whatever, and it's hard to cover that spot. But for the most part, majority of the time, and I'm close to 100%, we're at a paramedic level. With that said, the surrounding communities are not. So they call us for help. Now, these billing companies have always told us, or Comstar especially, told us that we shouldn't be billing for our paramedic intercept. While I'm being told by the chiefs in the surrounding communities, what are you doing? You should be charging us for this. So talking about medical reimbursement, he said absolutely. So last year, we did around 180 paramedic intercepts with the surrounding community. At $300 a pop, that's $60,000
So we
that we haven't collected.
yeah, so we didn't collect nothing at
We
all.
didn't collect
last
a
year.
dime.
But did they collect from our insurance company?
No, so, and what's happening is like Chief Hooper, he took advantage of it. Because if I send a paramedic, you probably don't even know this, but if we send a paramedic to meet up with their unit, now his unit becomes an ALS unit, which is advanced life support. So now he can charge at an ALS rate. So he'll charge the ALS rate and get the money, while we still get nothing. Isn't that crazy?
So now we could turn around and we bill them, we bill.
So now we would be billing, and
Goodens
with medical reimbursements, they're also billing for Goodens Mills, Waterboro, Alfred, all these towns that we're doing these intercepts with. So now when they see that we have a paramedic intercept,
Yeah.
they can go, oh, they went to Goodens Mills. Ah, okay, we can marry these two together. So as far as billing goes, it's gonna be so much easier, cause everything's gonna be in one spot. And
they're gonna bill the patient, not the other town,
Right.
so it's gonna be,
it goes on the patient's insurance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we've never done this before, and I think, we're pretty much stupid not to.
Yeah. What's BLS non-emergency?
BLS non-emergency is, someone falls and, they're not hurt or anything, they need to be evaluated. So we take a nice drive to the hospital, there's no rush, it's not an
Okay.
emergency.
All right, Kennebunk only charges 500, no, we're recommending 500 for that, but Kennebunk's rate is 600.
Yep,
So,
I compared the rates, very comparable to Kennebunk's,
Yeah.
but we also compared to Goodens Mills, because we're kind of very similar to Goodens Mills
okay,
on that level. The only thing is on the intercept, Kennebunk charges 300, where Goodham's Mills charges $350. And Sean McPherson, the gentleman who owns Medical Reimbursement Services, recommended the 300 rate. It would be better, a better adjustment for us.
What's SCT?
Uh,
Kennybunk charges $3,000, the other ones charge like $3,000 for it, we charge nothing.
Yeah, paramedic, that's a paramedic interfacility transport. And in order to be a paramedic interfacility transport, we gotta be certified.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm certified personally to
Yeah.
do PIV transport because I work in Saco,
Yeah.
and we're a PIV transport service, but Arundel is not. So in order to be in that service, everyone would have to be certified, so it's more schooling, to get that certification.
Is there an advantage to do that, to
It's a
get
lot of
people
money.
certified?
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money to
$3,000.
get them certified?
No, to get them certified, I'm not, the hospitals do it. The hospitals put on the classes. You have to do a certain rotation in the cath lab at Maine Med. You gotta do so many hours. And then, once you're PIF certified, we're allowed to, like, right now, Biddeford is contracted with Southern Maine Healthcare to do all their PIF transports. But Biddeford's always busy, and they run 2 ambulances, and at times the 2 ambulances are gone, so they're doing other calls, so they need backup. So they'll call Saco. Saco is the second one in, and I think Kennybunk is also a PIF transport, so that's Kennybunk. The benefit, the PIF transport is mainly used by career departments, because you always have the same group of people, you know what I mean? Where we're per diem, so we might not have that same group at all times. We might have we have a high, I wouldn't say a high, but we have a lot of people coming in and going, so, to keep the people trained, would be difficult. Usually the per diem services we try not to, you don't see them doing that often because of that reason.
A lot of turnover, right?
But the turnover and keeping everybody trained. Maine Med doesn't really put on these classes a lot to be a PIF transport service, and when they do, they want the numbers that come in so they can get everybody all at once. So now to do a class for 2 or 3 people, it's not cost effective for them. But PIF transports are great because it's a interfacility transport, so you're transporting, you know you're gonna get paid, because you're going from one medical facility to another. So the transports are generally approved before they're, through the insurance, before they're even called. So a lot of times, like, yep, taken. So you know they're getting paid, and they're charging anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000 per transport. And they might do 6 a day.
What is BLS and ALS?
BLS is basic life support.
Okay,
So basic life support is anything from like taking your blood pressure, you have a nosebleed, treating or a broken arm, stuff like that, where you don't require any advanced life skills.
okay, that's what
life-saving
ALS
skills.
is, yeah.
So ALS, that's what ALS comes in, is advanced life-saving skills, where we do, cardiology, we do the, put you on the heart monitor,
So that's the
give you
difference between,
medicines, IV.
that's the difference between the two, ALS or ALS non-emergency.
Yep, and then the ALS, there's ALS and ALS 2. So there's an ALS where we start an IV, put you on a monitor, kind of diagnose what's going on, but we don't necessarily treat. ALS 2 is when we start treating, we start giving drugs, we start doing other things, invasive procedures, like maybe intubating, stuff like that. That's when ALS 2 comes in.
Okay, now I know that the bill goes to my insurance company,
Yep,
and that bill is for, $500. My insurance company says, okay, we're gonna pay $200 out of this, or $250. And I only have to pay, say, 100. What happens with the rest of that money?
That would be a Sean McPherson question.
Yeah, because the insurance companies and what you pay don't necessarily add up to 100% of that bill.
Right,
It's an agreed upon rate.
Yeah.
so, and that's the problem we have with that. A lot of times, the insurance will pay 80%.
Yeah.
The individual is responsible for the 20. Sometimes they have dual insurances, because the husband has insurance, the wife has insurance, so they get paid 100%. And other times there's no pay, so they're on main care, stuff like that, so, with people on main care and, I think, Medicare or Medicaid, there's a flat rate that they'll pay. There is, some new info coming out, it hasn't been passed through the state yet through Medicare, that they were gonna increase the rates, and they were actually gonna start paying for, there's a new thing coming out, it's called community paramedicine, where a doctor's office is concerned for your safety, your health, whatever, they want your blood pressure checked a couple times a day, and instead of sending a visiting nurse, they're gonna call us, we go out, take your blood pressure, see how you're doing, all that stuff, and then we can bill Medicare for that. So there's new stuff coming out, through that, but they did adjust the rates again. And, those things we have no control over.
Yeah, because Medicare will only, you can bill Medicare $200 and they say, oh, well, we're only paying 150 and the person isn't responsible for anything. So you're only gonna get 150 of
Yeah.
that, so that the other $50, do you write it off?
Yeah.
I mean, how
Well,
does that?
they have, and that's why, medical reimbursements will set up a payment plan of that individual if they have to, or,
But what if my insurance says I'm not responsible for that?
These are probably not negotiated rates, these are
Right.
rates that, right, it's not like we go into a doctor and
Yeah.
negotiate with that.
right,
These are not
These are not.
negotiable rates, these
No.
are set rates,
right.
and you're responsible for the
So
rest of the money.
what my insurance
It
company
appears
has
that
to
we
pay.
only have, Medicare, main care, and Anthem are the only participating agreements that we have with anybody. So we have probably set rates with them
Yes,
that are charged
Right.
yes.
regardless.
Yeah.
And that's what they're gonna pay.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions?
Will, medical reimbursements take over that 157 outstanding?
We're in talk with them, with Comstar, with Wendy. Wendy's also been helping out, she's been doing a lot of work, a lot of footwork. We are trying, they can only collect 6 years back. So anything 6 years or more is a loss. So what we're trying to do is, we were in contact with them today, we had an email out, and I haven't heard back from Wendy. They were gonna try to defer that 6 months, because as of March 1st, we're done with Comstar, but the question was for them to keep on trying to collect that 157 for the next 6 months, and to see what they can collect. So, at that point.
I think at some point, our auditor's been after us to, what are we gonna do with this outstanding debt that's sitting on the table? I think that the chief's got a good plan here, and I think we're gonna try to collect some of it, but at the end of the day, we may have to write some of this off, which
Yeah.
We've done before.
we've done it before, 2
Yeah.
years, I think 2 years ago, we wrote off $45,000 worth of it. So, we'll have to maybe take another look at that.
Hopefully with medical reimbursements, we don't land in this boat, and we're just better off.
I think this is gonna be a very good relationship for the town, I'm really happy about it,
Oh, yeah, because if they want their money, they're gonna be out there collecting.
absolutely.
So I'm looking for a motion to change over to medical reimbursements and adjust our fees as provided to us by Chief dated February 12th, 2019.
So move.
Motion by Velma,
Second.
seconded by Tom. Any other discussion? All those in favor? One abstention, Jason.
Oh, he abstained?
In that gray area again.
Oh, come on. You'll live.
Here's another great
I don't know
area.
why he abstains, I can't get him to go to work.
We run into these gray areas, what, once every,
Month.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Sad.
Yeah.
I don't know why you abstained, I
Somebody
can't
else.
even get you to come to work.
Yeah.
All right, next item on the agenda is the, draft Arundel Fire Protection and Safety Ordinance.
Again,
That's me again.
he's been here working on this, so I'll let him carry the ball in reference to it.
We don't have any of this as part of our ordinances that we have. I mean, if Jason
Well-
comes in to build a house, he has to have,
Now, unfortunately, what I did was, I kind of married three things together. So, Jason I'm talking about Jason, putting a subdivision together, he did a good thing, he put sprinklers in the building. But, I adopted, the subdivision regulations, pertaining to fire protection in the town of Arundel is included in this. Also, there's a part for fire protection in the land use ordinance is also included in this. Because I talking with the planning board and talking with Tad, he was great to give me the information that we needed and gather all the information and try to put it in one spot. The one thing the town doesn't have is that the life safety, 101 and the fire code, and it's all in NFPA, fire code and life safety. And by doing so, I say it kind of puts us liable, because someone who wants to put a museum up, might not have exits where the exits need to be. Might not, if he wants to put a certain amount of people in this museum, he might need a fire alarm system. You know, depending on how many cars, he might need sprinklers. So, it's all things to think about. All this does is put the people in Arundel, it makes people safer. People will go to a restaurant and they think they're safe, until the front exit is blocked and there's a fire, and they go out the back and they find the rear exit is chained. They can't get out. And then the owner of the restaurant says, well, I chain it because I don't wanna get robbed. When it's listed as an exit, it can't be chained. So these kind of things are what I do, that's what we look for, and it's for the safety of the people. And that's why I wanna implement this, just to, you know, make this a safer place. What we wanna try to do, and what other communities do, is provide life safety inspections. And we go in, and it's a courtesy thing, we point out the issues at hand. Again, if they have an exit that's blocked, or if they have a second floor exit that's, you know, rotted out, that needs to get fixed, these kind of things. Again, it's, you know, they got electrical outlets or a panel that's needs to, you know, got exposed wire that's unsafe for their employees. These are all things that we need to look at.
but can't you do that without having this?
I cannot. Right now, I have to work under the fire marshal's office. So if I see something, I gotta call them. By adopting Life Safety 101 and the fire code, now it gives me to be able to, I hate to use the word, but to enforce the code. And I've seen a lot of stuff already in this town that, I hate to use the word wild west, but, you know, I've seen illegal apartments already that, you know, there's where they shouldn't be. And, you know, we can walk in and try to work with these people. Now, I'm not gonna come in and say, hey, you're shut down until you fix it. You know, there's leniency on, and with people who are willing to work with us. we see it all the time, or, hey, I can't fix this, I can't afford to fix this, probably take me a year to fix it. Put that in paper for me, tell me that in a year, we're gonna try to fix these issues, we'll work with you. But if, at the end of that year, you got a safe place, that's well worth it. That's well worth it.
Are you proposing to, I really haven't had a chance to look at this up until just recently here, but are you proposing to change the subdivision regulations?
Nope. Nope, I just added it in there, it's the same.
So you're taking what's in the subdivision regulations today and you're putting it into this
Yep.
ordinance?
So it's the same as the fire, for the fire protection policy, you know, if they can't put a pond or cisterns, they can choose to do residential sprinklers.
So my concern with that is, here we go, kinda like the street design, right? We get these little pieces all over the place.
Right.
I mean, I'm not against this, but I wanna make sure that it's in one document, right? So that we don't, if they make a change in land use ordinance, subdivision regulations, and they forget here, now we got conflicting documents.
Yeah.
Well, I think what happens here is if at first blush that you folks look at this and think it warrants further discussion, we move it over to the planning board. The planning board has the opportunity to have a look at it, discuss with the chief. They have to hold, in the event that it gets approved, we'd have to go through public hearing process with them and then final approval with the taxpayer, so, at a meeting, so.
Could it be just the life safety code and leave the planning, leave everything else where it is?
Yeah, we could take out all the other,
Because the
portions
other
of
stuff
it.
is already there.
yeah, and I understand that. I was trying to collaborate everything as a life safety ordinance
Yeah.
and a fire protection ordinance for us. But I can still use this, I can still, it's part of the town,
Yeah.
so I can still use these.
Well, the other thing too is why, and you could go the other way, right? Why couldn't we go to the planning board and say, for any of the fire safety stuff, you refer to this document, so there'd be
That's-
nothing in the subdivision on fire safety, it's all into this document. You
And
can
that's
go
what-
either way, right?
Most municipalities, that's what they've done, they put everything in one document.
Right.
So that way, if there's anything in question, you go to the one document in regards to fire protection or life safety, you go to the one document and you talk to the fire chief. And, that's how it's done.
Usually in this town, it ends up in 3 places, they forget it's in 3 places and it doesn't get changed and.
Right, that's kinda why.
Well, and if I could work with the planning board and correct this and make this work, that would be awesome, that'd be great. I think, it would move us forward light years.
So what is this, obviously, you can't put a price on safety, right, I mean, on fire safety, but does anything in this, and maybe Phil and Jason might be able to answer this, but does anything in this cause a big increase in subdivision costs? Or building individual, this wouldn't apply to an individual home, but it would apply to anything in the subdivision, right?
Quite honestly, I haven't had a chance to read through it, so I can't answer that. And I was gonna ask or suggest that we hold this till the next meeting so we can all review it and be okay with it. And maybe even answer the question that he just asked.
I mean, I think it's good to move, we definitely, I agree, we need to move forward, we need to make sure that it's in one spot. You know, and then, time to look at it, maybe we kinda do something like what they did with the street design, right? You kinda have a subcommittee to kinda go over that with the right people and make sure. I mean, again, I don't wanna, you can't put a price on safety, but I know the biggest thing is, oh geez, you're gonna add, $20,000 to the cost of a home, or, sorry, we gotta count.
No, that's not what we're trying to do, it's mostly just, it's for life safety, like I said. Walking into a building and find a chained exit. It's easy to say, hey,
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
every
when you're,
commercial.
when you're open for business, take the chain off the door.
Yeah, I mean, and some of this
You know?
is already in our ordinance anyways, as I, kinda
Yeah.
thumbed through it, looked at it, but.
And if anything, if there's any cost to anybody, I mean, if there is a business owner out there that keeps his business in disarray, or his building in disarray where it becomes unsafe, yeah, he has to
And
make
he
a
needs to
correction.
pay.
He
And
He's-
there's
he
a
didn't-
liability there
and-
too.
Well, he needs to pay for himself.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, it's not, I'm not making any money out of it. It's, he needs to make it safe for everyone else.
So do you wanna just take a little look at it? Maybe, Chief and I can talk a little bit more about the relationship between the land use ordinance and this is a standalone ordinance and
Yeah.
try to figure out what we can do.
Yeah, and talk with Tad too on.
Cause I like, if you look at our land use ordinance, I know there's been a lot of effort in it, but it can become very confusing for somebody to go through
Yeah.
that unless they know exactly where they need to be. I do like the standalone ordinance, like the street design, construction standards. People now have that ordinance, they can go to it, once we approve it, they know what their obligations are. The same thing here, so if we go ahead and do this, it may be
Yeah, I
nice
mean,
to have it.
I think you pull all that stuff out of the, subdivision ordinance, take it all out and you put it into, and you point to it.
I've talked to Tad, worked with Tad on this as well. He thinks it's a great idea, so, it's, to go to the planning board would be great, and I think that's, you guys approve.
Okay, any other comments from the board?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I just wanna look
Yeah,
at it
that's fine.
before I vote on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I certainly weren't in a position to vote on this tonight, I mean. I
no,
think
there's a lot of information
Yeah.
in there.
Good.
And if I brought all the code stuff out, then it would have been a lot thicker, and I just kinda made it so you can, NFPA 101 and NFPA 1.
Good stuff, thank you, chief.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody got anything else? Okay. Other business. Payroll, approval payroll and payables and payroll.
So moved.
Motion by Velma, seconded by Jason. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. And then the only thing that I had, and we kinda talked about this already, is, and we'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, but I'd like to be in a position at the next meeting to do a information thing to the public on the municipal building, so. I'd like to do that at the next meeting, I'm gonna be out of town at the end of the month, I'm gonna be out of state, I wanna be part of that, so.
Yeah, I spoke with Rita today, I'll speak again with Jack tomorrow, we're putting together perhaps an outline to share. She's putting together certain slides in a PowerPoint, and it won't be completely finished for tomorrow night, but it will be close. And then I think we just sort of put together our talking points and how that's going to be managed as we go through the.
Yeah, and if we have to meet another time before then, to get it all down, I think between Jack, myself, and
Yep.
you, and, we can certainly do that, so.
Good.
It's time to get something out there, so. Good, okay. Anybody got anything else?
When do we have to have the, I forget what it's even called, like the town, volunteer, like award thing, remember that company that does the volunteer thing?
The Spirit of America Award?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when does that have to be submitted by?
Can't remember.
March,
I'll
right?
look the letter again.
Yeah.
It sort of wants it, the gentleman
Do you have
wants.
somebody in mind?
Yeah.
I do, actually, yeah.
Okay, the gentleman sort of wants it, so if we do it, we make a nomination and approval, and then we can make some sort of presentation at the annual town meeting is what they ultimately like to see as a goal. So, yeah, let me pull the letter again, and we can chat about it as well.
Is that person here today?
No.
Anything else? Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah.
Motion by Jason, seconded by Phil. Any other discussion? All those in favor? We adjourn at 8:00.
Tomorrow night, same time, same place.
Yeah. Thanks, chief.